Mingalaba, everyone, and welcome back to our Abhidhamma study class with the Venerable Pinyadinka Linkara. This is class 10. We'll be going over the unwholesome consciousness or Akusala Cittas. This will be the second part of this section. We will begin the class first with our opening with Namo Tassa. Siara, if you would like to lead us.
Okay. Let's start our today Abhidhamma study reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Thank you very much, Sayada, for leading us in Namo Tassa. We will now begin the we will begin the revision and discussion section of the class. Sayada, if you'd like to lead us.
Okay, let's continue our Abhidhamma study. Today we will continue our study on the topics Akusala Citta. So unwholesome consciousness, Akusala Citta, and just go through what we have studied. So in first slide, we have studied about the roots. Hetu, this is very important. And if you understand Hetu, and you can apply in many cases. So Sahituka, Pugala, Ahituka, Pugala, Sahituka, consciousness, Ahituka, consciousness. And also the other classification we will learn. Many related to this roots, this name of roots. And so better to remember about the roots, what are the roots, and how we use this usage of roots in our Abhidhamma study. Then in another slide here, I introduced the Akusala Citta. What is Akusala Citta and what is the signature of Akusala Citta? There must be the root of greed, hatred, delusion to call Akusala. So without the root of greed, hatred, and delusion, there cannot arise the Akusala. And also, based upon the roots, we classify Akusala Citta into 3 types. Lobha Mula Citta, because it has the prominent roots of Lobha. And Dosa Mula Citta, it has prominent root of hatred, Dosa. And Moha Mula, so only Moha remain as a roots. So in this way, based upon the roots, we classify Akusala Citta into 3 types. Then we will introduce here about the roots. Although it is emphasized as Lobha Mula, not only Lobha is their roots. Also, the Moha, which is the common roots to all unwholesome, conjoined with the Lobha to be the roots. So Lobha Mula has 2 roots, Dosa Mula has 2 roots, and Moha Mula only 1 root of Moha. And also we have explained that the greed, Lobha, and Dosa, they cannot arise according to their nature. They cannot arise in the same group or in the same consciousness, at the same consciousness. That is why we can name the Lobha Mula and Dosa Mula if they join together, and we cannot name it this way. Okay, so from this slide, and I'm trying to point out that Lobha, Dosa, and Moha as group and how they arise in the mental group and the group of mentalities. So the group of mentality referring to the consciousness as a leader and the mental fetters. So consciousness is the leader here, but consciousness influenced by the mental fetters. We have given the example of the water and their color power. color powders. Okay, so some consciousness have that two roots of greed and delusion, and the other types have their two roots of hatred and delusion. Then the remaining have only one root. This is how we classify according to the roots, classify the unwholesome consciousness according to their prominent roots. Then after that, in order to enumerate properly all 12 unwholesome citta, we need to know about the classification system of the unwholesome consciousness. They are according to the feeling, vedana, so accompaniment factors of feeling. So we classify lobha mula into two types. So the accompanied by joy or accompanied by equanimity. Lobha mula have two types. And for dosa mula, only one type or domanassa sagata, accompanied by displeasure only. And for the moha mula too, also only one type of the neutral feeling, which is called the equanimity. So for lobha mula, we have to know the two types of accompanying feeling, joy and equanimity. Because the dosa cannot arise, so displeasure feeling cannot arise with the lobha. Then, okay, so the absent and present or absent of wrong view also make their different types of consciousness. So in the lobha mula, half. So 8 lobha mula, four types will be present. So present we call the sampayutta. It's translated as the associated. So 4 lobha mula consciousness will be associated with wrong view. And the other 4 lobha mula consciousness will be dissociated from wrong view. So Detigata Samyutta and Detigata Vibhyutta. And also the 4 lobha mula consciousness are considered as a prompt. And because they are not very active by themselves and need their inducement or encouragement. And the other 4 does not need any encouragement. They already activated by themselves. So in this way, 3 aspects are used to classify unwholesome consciousness into 12 types. So by the classification, according to 3 types, we get the unwholesome consciousness into 12 types, especially here, lobha mula citta into 8 types. Okay, so for the next slide, we specify about the somanassa, etc. So here, introduce 5 types of feeling. 5 types of feeling, somanassa and sukha. So sukha emphasized in the bodily feeling, and mental feeling is somanassa. In the same way, dukkha is bodily feeling, and domanassa is mental feeling. So sukha and dukkha, if we continue our study, classification of consciousness, we will find only one type for each. So sukha is only one consciousness. In the later group of the ahetuka consciousness, we will see what is sukha. And dukkha also only one type. And the others, joyful feeling are considered as the somanassa. And they are, with the dosa mula consciousness too, the mental feeling is considered as the domanassa. So mental suffering, unpleasant mental state. And the remaining, so neutral feeling or equanimity usually used, but the other name is adukkha masukha. So neither painful nor pleasant feeling. That is called the adukkha masukha. Okay, so conjoined with the word sahagata. So sahagata, saha together, gata to be arising. So arising together. With the somanassa, it is called somanassa sahagata. arising together with the sukha. It is called sukha sahagata. And in the same way, we apply into 5 types with the word sahagata. So here, somanasa sahagata, consciousness accompanied by joy. Sukha sahagata, consciousness accompanied by bodily pleasure. Domanasa sahagata, consciousness accompanied by displeasure. Dukkha sahagata, consciousness accompanied by bodily pain. Yeah, not right, bodily pain. And upekha sahagata, consciousness accompanied by neutral feeling or equanimity. So all joy, pleasure, displeasure, pain, and equanimity, all reference to their feeling, which is called in Pali Vedana. Feeling is Vedana. And also, you have to take a note that feeling, all types of feeling are mental fetters or mental fetters, which is called the Citta. Feeling is mental fetters or Citta. So here, although the bodily pleasure, we emphasize the bodily, but it is pleasure. Pleasure is a kind of feeling. So this is mentality, not materiality, because it comes through or is arise through the bodily context, bodily touching. That is why it is regarded as the bodily pleasure, and not body, actually. That's a feeling. In the same way, here, a bodily pain. Pain also feeling, which is called the mental fetters, Citta. That's why, although it is named bodily pain, it's not physical. It refers to the mental fetters of feeling. Okay, so the others are easy to understand. So in this way, based upon the 5 types of feeling, 5 types of Vedana, we can classify consciousness into 5 types. Among the 5 types, we can find only 3 types in the Akusala Citta. Somanasa Sahagata, we can find in the Loba Mula consciousness. And Domanasa Sahagata, we can find in the Dosa Mula consciousness. Upekha Sahagata, we can find in both Loba Mula group and Moha Mula group. This is how we have to understand about the mental fetters, accompanying mental fetters. Okay, so if you keep these types of principal knowledge, and the classification of consciousness will not be difficult anymore. Okay, so let's continue about the Sampayutta. So in case of the Akusala Citta, we can find the Detigata Sampayutta or Patiga, Tawa Patiga, referring to dosa. So Patiga Sampayutta and Vichikecha Sampayutta and Udacha Sampayutta. So 4 types of Sampayutta, according to the association Sampayutta. You can find 4 types in the Akusala Citta. But in the other conscious now, you will find only 2 types, Jnana Sampayutta or Jnana Vipayutta only. So we will see in the next lesson when we study about the blissful consciousness, Sobhana Citta. So blissful and non-blissful. So blissful, or we call them a beautiful consciousness, Sobhana Citta. Okay, so here regarding the Sampayutta associated with or Vipayutta dissociated from. Sometimes associated and sometimes dissociated. That is why we can identify the conscious now with this aspect also. So here, deity, we already said that deity in case of the Akusala, there must be Miccha deity. So although the word deity refers to the general meaning of the opinion or view, but in this case, we are talking about the wholesome consciousness. That's why the Tikata Sampayutta associated with view refers to the associated with round view. The Tikata Vipayutta dissociated from round view. Okay, so Patiga Sampayutta for the dosa mula Patiga as a synonym of the word dosa is translated as aversion. So dosa translated as anger. So this is slightly different for the usage of the Pali word. So when we see dosa, we usually translate as the anger. And for patigha, aversion. So although they are translated by different words, we can understand for the ultimate reality that refers to the same substance of the dosa. Dosa and patigha the same. So patigha samyutta associated with aversion, it means associated with dosa. Then for vicikiccha, the true nature of vicikiccha, we already explained. So vicikiccha translated as doubt, and usually sometimes it's emphasized by the skeptical doubt like this, not the ordinary common doubt we use. So skeptical doubt related to the view, and then the nature of the religion. So this is doubt. And uddhacca, restlessness. Also, this difficult to translate into English, uddhacca. So for following its meaning. So here, distraction or agitation. This is another translation. So we have to know the uddhacca, the nature of uddhacca, and associated with doubt and associated with restlessness, the identification of the Mohamula consciousness, because Mohamula consciousness, all two consciousness accompanied by the mental feeling of equanimity. So we cannot classify them according to the mental feeling. And so they don't have the prompting or unprompt nature. That's why we cannot classify. Only with the associated factors we can classify Mohamula consciousness. So this is what we have learned in last week. Okay, so for new lesson, let's see asankharika and sasankharika as the last part of the principle to classify the Unwholesome consciousness. Asankharika and sasankharika. So easy understanding, we translate the asankharika without sankhara. Okay, now you know the asankharika here, ika. If we remove ika, become the sankhara. So a refers to without, the absent. So asankharika without sankhara. And sasankharika, we can say the with sankhara. So for the translation, asankharika is unprompted and sasankharika prompted. So let's see what is mean sankhara exactly. In the word sankhara is used in different meaning in the Pali literature. So we need to learn how the word sankhara is used in the Pali literature. So for number one, sankhara in the classification of 5 aggregates, we have already introduced that 5 aggregates. So there in 5 aggregate, rupa khanda, vedana khanda, sanya khanda, then sankhara khanda. So number 4, sankhara khanda, translated as aggregate of mental formation. So mental formation is the meaning of the sankhara. So here mental formation in the classification of aggregates refers to the 50 mental factors, only 50 among the 52 mental factors, except the feeling, vedana, and perception, sanya, because they are counted as separate aggregates. For the sankhara khanda, it refers to the 50 mental factors, 50 cittasika. Okay, this is one usage for the sankhara. Here, sankhara refers to 50 mental factors except vedana and sanya. For the second usage, so sabbe sankhara anicca, in the sutta teaching, Buddha stated this statement, sabbe sankhara anicca. There, the meaning is all conditional phenomena are impermanent. So here, all conditional phenomena. Is the conditional phenomena refers to the mundane consciousness and mental factors, materialities, all these phenomena are impermanent. In this case, sankhara reference to the conditional phenomena. So this has a wider sense than the number one. Number one only refers to the 50 mental factors. For number two, in case of sabbe sankhara anicca, it includes the mundane consciousness, all mental factors, and also the materialities. So this has the wider sense. So sankhara used in this way. Then for the third meaning, avijja paccaya sankhara. So this is a very popular one because it is come from the Paṭijasamuppada teaching. So in this usage, avijja paccaya sankhara. So karmic formation arise. Here karmic formations is translated as the sankhara, the translation of sankhara. And arise due to the ignorance. Ignorance is avijja. So due to the avijja, ignorance, karmic formation arise. In this case, sankhara refers to karmic formation. So what is karmic formation? So akusala, like this. So the potency of the karma, we can say that that is called sankhara in this case. So karmic formation especially refers to the volition, mental volition, cetana. This is another usage, number 3. And for the last one, here related to this this lesson, prompting or instigation or inducement, which is called payoga in Pali. By the payoga, with prompting, with instigation or with inducement, that is called the sasankharika. Without that is asankharika. And also we can understand the meaning of upaya. So both payoga and upaya can apply in this case for the word sankhara. So application of an expedience. This is called upaya in Pali. So with the payoga and upaya, we can regard as the sasankharika. Without the payoga and upaya, is called the asankharika. So for the common usage, common understanding, we can say the encouragement by oneself or others is called the sasankharika. Without the encouragement, it means not necessary to receive any encouragement. It's already activated by itself, already strong enough. That is called as asankharika. So asankharika is stronger than sasankharika because sasankharika, due to the nature of sluggishness, it needs the encouragement to receive. So, okay, so this is the sasankharika and asankharika. If we know the nature, and then we can understand when we apply the consciousness, types of the consciousness in our daily life. So how it arises, so with the sankhara or without the sankhara. Sometimes considering about the something, that, oh, it is good. You want the item, the new item of phone or computer or car or like this, and you consider about this, how nice, and that's become, the first time consideration. Maybe or without sankhara, like this, without sankhara, asankharika, because it's no need to encourage, sometimes very active ourselves. And later, by the influence, the mind movement follow to attach what for the object, what we want. The development then also sometimes among them the process. The following process can receive some influence of the preceding one, so former one. At that time, we can say that consciousness come with the sankhara, encouragement. Or sometimes you yourself consider how nice that is, and I should get on. So this is how we can understand about the nature of with encouragement or without encouragement. So encouragement can be bodily action, verbal action, or sometimes only thinking about that, and mental action only. So this is some types of the different usage of sankhara in the Pali literature, and also the meaning of asankharika and sasankharika. Okay, so let's see in the daily life understanding first before we classify. After that, after understanding, and you need to classify into different types, and also you need to remember in each group. So better to remember, because here in this group we trying to learn, understand for understanding, emphasizing on the understanding to apply in our daily life. So here we will explain the meaning first, and then later you have to recite the name of the consciousness in Pali, so that you can identify by yourself and you can memorize by yourself. Okay, so 12 unwholesome consciousness are explained in the daily life action. So the examples given that one steal an apple from fruit stall. So this is stealing. Stealing is unwholesome action. So that's why we start from the stealing. So it doesn't matter a wine or a girl, whoever doing this action. In the process of that person, so when we penetrate, so we see the joy, because the mind accompanied by joy, he still joyfully, so happy. Then another factor is view, what kind of view he holds. So holding the view that there is no evil in stealing. He thinks the stealing is his right. I can steal, doesn't matter, according to ethical standpoint. That is not a mistake. If he is thinking that, that is wrongdoing, because they are, according to the nature, stealing is not right action, it is wrong action. So if a person thinking that stealing is my right, I can do stealing according to my right, this is a kind of wrong view. So with holding the view that there is no evil in stealing, this is wrong view. So with wrong view. So with joy, with wrong view. And spontaneously, it means no need to wait for any encouragement. No need, is already active enough by itself, the mind itself, for that action. So the first type comes. So because it is joyful, we can say the somanasa sahagata. You can take a note that the somanasa sahagata, because he holds the wrong view, detigata sambhayutta. And for the past type, without encouragement, it becomes the asankharika. So for the past type, we can say that somanasa sahagata, detigata sambhayutta, asankharika, loba mula consciousness. Because when he's still at that time, the cause is loba, attachment. Then for the second types, the former two factors are the same. He's still with joy, holding wrong view, but through the prompting of a friend, it means with the encouragement, because for himself, the mind is not active enough to commit the stealing. So with the encouragement or with the prompting of a friend is considered as the sasankharika, becomes second types. So first type of loba mula consciousness and second types of loba mula consciousness just differ only in case of prompting and unprompting. So the first type, unprompt, asankharika. Second type with the prompting is called the sasankharika. Okay, so for another two types, he still continue keeping with joyful feeling, keeping the joyful feeling, somanasa sahagata, continue. Then, but in this case, this time, he's not holding the wrong view. because he thinks, this is evil, but I'm hungry. Then no choice, had to steal. So in this case, without wrong view, because he is holding the view that there is, not holding the view, not holding wrong view. So wrong view refers to there's no evil in stealing. That is wrong view. So if he is not holding, it means he thinks the stealing is evil. It is right view, but actually we cannot say exactly right view. We can say the absence of wrong view, because if we say right view, it refers to the samadhi. But in this case, he is recognizing stealing as evil, but still he is committing unwholesome. With the unwholesome nature, wholesome cannot come together. That is why this is also not wrong view, not right view. But we can say the absence of wrong view. But sometimes you may think that if there's no wrong view, there must be right view, but actually not that. This is just the absence of wrong view only. So we can say the Ditigata Samyutta, but we cannot say that with the right view. This is not with right view. Still, he is committing unwholesome. So by the absence of wrong view, we can say the dissociated from wrong view. Then in the same way, the classification of asankharika and sasankharika will come the same with the first pair of the 1 and 2. Okay, in this case, we can say the Loba Mula Citta, he is stealing. Then Somanasa Sahagata will join. So by the absence of wrong view, Detigata, Vipayutta, and Asankharika and Sasankharika. So this is for the Loba Mula, four consciousness. Then another four consciousness follow to the same classification. The change come only in the accompaniment factors. In this case, in four consciousness, although here still not with the his mind is not with the joyful feeling, but come with the neutral feeling. And sometimes stealing also can be done by the neutral feeling. At that time, repeating the same classification, we get another four types with the neutral feeling. So we can say the upekha sahagata, detigata, sampayutta, asankharika. Upekha sahagata, detigata, vipayutta, detigata, sampayutta, sasankharika. And upekha sahagata, detigata, vipayutta, asankharika. Upekha sahagata, detigata, vipayutta, sasankharika, in this way. So in the next slide of table, we will recite that one. In this way, 8 Loba Mula consciousness. So not only stealing, so committing the Kamesumicachara, and this in this lesson we will classify the action, cause of action, what we are doing in our daily life. Now with the cause, we will study with their cause. So at that time you will understand what types of our daily life action are caused by which roots, which cause. Okay, so in this case, the example is given in the action of stealing. So if a man steals a car, also the same, not only apple, that steal others' property, whatever stealing is come with the same classification. Okay, so for the Dosa Mula consciousness group, the example is given for the action of murdering. So one killed the other person with hatred to express the domanasa sahagata. So Patika Sampayutta. So both same, Patika Sampayutta. with hatred, with aversion, we can say. And in a spontaneous fit or range, so without any encouragement, his mind already active and commit that one. The consciousness at that moment, exactly the consciousness arising. The first type of dosa mula, we can see there, domanassa sahagata, patika samyutta asankharika. So after meditation, so we consider it, and then with the encouragement to angers, to make stronger level of the anger is with the prompt, with the prompting. So sasankharika. So here in this case, committing a murder with the hatred, domanassa sahagata, patika samyutta. So asankharika or sasankharika. Then for the last group, the delusion group. So a person here, it does not mention about the action, any action. You know, sometimes just develop the mentalities, mental process without moving any bodily action or verbal action. So the consciousness arises under influence of delusion, moha. With the absence of lobha and dosa, only delusion remain at this time. So delusion becomes stronger to influence the mind. So with the neutral feeling, upekkha sahagata. So doubt, it developed the doubt only in the mind. That is the doubt on the enlightenment of the Buddha. So whether he is real Buddha or is this possible or not. That is, he developed the doubt. And also efficacy of the Dhamma. So if I practice also, is it possible to get the liberation or escape from the samsara, or like this, developing the doubt. And the system of karma, if I do this good karma also, is it possible or not to receive the good effect? In this way, he developed the doubt. This is called vicikiccha sampayutta. So without classification of the prompt or unprompt, only two neutral feeling and vicikiccha. So that is the first type. Upekkha sahagata vicikiccha sampayutta. And then for the last type, and with the distracted mind, so cannot focus on any object. So it does not mean cannot aware. Still it aware and it know the object. It just say cannot focus. Focus to have the clear image or clear how to say the understanding. Cannot focus this situation with the distracted mind. So with the restlessness or uddhacca. So the second type of unwholesome consciousness is called upekkha sahagata uddhacca sampayutta. So in this way, 12 unwholesome consciousness arise in our daily life. So for the action of the lobha mula and dosa mula can change after understanding what types of action can be done through the lobha mula or dosa mula, and you can change. For moha mula, just under influence of the delusion associated with vicikiccha, delusion associated with uddhacca. They are called the moha mula consciousness. Okay, so let's see some other information. I will give answering the question. So we already received some question. So in this case, and we were trying to name the consciousness in different name, so that we can remember in Pali. So we already study the Pali pronunciation method. It will not be difficult for you to pronounce. So first type, and I will pronounce here. For the Loba Mula 8 in the Abhidhamma Sangaha, it mentioned that Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Sambyuda Asankharika. This is the first one. And in the same way, Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Sambyuda Sasankharika. So different from the first. And Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Vibhyuda, so Asankharika. So it's different from first group in case of Detigata, Sambyuda, and Vibhyuda. So unprompt will be the same with the number 1. So then the first column and the third column same, but second column different, like this. So for the number 4, Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata, Vibhyuda, Sasankharika. Here also, first column and second column are same in with the number 3, but the third column different. In this way, each type cannot be the same with the others. So in this way, we can identify into 8 Loba Mula. Okay, so let's read together by the name, so that you can read yourself. Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Sambyuda Asankharika. Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Sambyuda Sasankharika. Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Vibhyuda Asankharika. Somanasa Sahagata, Detigata Vibhyuda Sasankharika. Then we'll change to the Ubeka. So Ubeka Sahagata, Detigata Sambyuda Asankharika. Ubeka Sahagata, Detigata Sambyuda Sasankharika. Ubeka Sahagata, Detigata Vibhyuda Asankharika. Ubeka Sahagata, Detigata Vibhyuda Sasankharika. So this way, you need to study to understand by heart 8 types of Loba Mula Citta. So if you write down in order, then you must have the correct writing in the list. Okay. So for the number 2 group, Domanasa Sahagata, here change both Domanasa Sahagata. So let's see. Domanasa Sahagata, Patika Sambyuda Asankharika. Domanasa Sahagata, Patika Sambyuda Sasankharika. So become easy. Only both the 2 consciousness different only in case of Asankharika and Sasankharika. Okay, let's continue. For the Moha Mula, it was different in the Sambyuda. Okay, so let's see. Upekha Sahagata, Vichikecha Sambyuda. Upekha Sahagata, Udaja Sambyuda. So now you get the 12 wholesome consciousness in their name, their specific name. And also in former slide, we already studied that how they arise in our daily life with the action. So this is what we have to understand in the wholesome consciousness. So for the next slide, I just remove the Pali name. So in the English translation also, you can identify the greed-rooted consciousness. Here like this, greed-rooted consciousness accompanied by joint associated with round view and prompt. So in English translation also you can practice. So greed-rooted consciousness accompanied by joint associated with round view prompt, and also dissociated from round view and prompt. Dissociated from round view prompt. Then accompanied by equanimity, 4 types. So Dosa Mula Citta, you can say that hatred-rooted consciousness, like this. Hatred-rooted consciousness accompanied by displeasure, feeling, associated with aversion and prompt. And hatred-rooted consciousness accompanied by displeasure, associated with aversion and prompt. For Moha Mula consciousness, you can say delusion-rooted consciousness accompanied by equanimity associated with doubt. Delusion-rooted consciousness accompanied by equanimity associated with restlessness. In this way, in English translation also, you can get the complete enumeration of the unwholesome consciousness. And okay, so here, these are the Pali word, keyword translation. So we don't need to repeat, already mentioned that. So here, just to explain that, what is association? So here, associated with refers to that. We can say when the consciousness and mental theta arise together, cease together, take the same object, and have the same base. At that time, we can say they are in association, sampayutta. So they are in association. So when we say that associated with round view mean the consciousness and that round view, they arise together, they sit together, and also they take the same object. For example, if one is stealing an apple, at that time the apple is object. Apple is object. Taking that apple as object, the consciousness arises. Also, the round view arises, taking the same object. So that's why we can say the associated with. And so having the same base. Okay. So with the association of the other, the consciousness and aversion, consciousness and doubt or restlessness, they arise together, cease together, and taking the same object and based upon the same base. They are regarded as the associated one, associated manifestas. So when we talk about the round view, so what is the associated mentality? There, the consciousness and the other manifestas arising together are included. So in this case, for the consciousness, we say associated with round view. But for the round view, we can say associated with consciousness because they arise in the nature of association. They arise in the nature of association. So what is the nature of association? Yeah, you can say these are the nature of association, arising together, ceasing together, taking the same object and based upon the same base. Okay, so this is the information I need to explain about the unwholesome consciousness. So about the unwholesome consciousness, I think this is quite strong enough to discuss, to have the conversation about the unwholesome consciousness if you can hold this all information. And through the conversation, we can develop our understanding. Okay, I'm going to stop here my explanation about the unwholesome consciousness as a second part. So we can continue our question and answer session and the discussion.
Thank you, Sayadaw, for your Abhidhamma lecture. Our Abhidhamma lecture is ending here today, as Sayadaw said, and we will continue next week. Thank you for joining us today. We're now going to begin the question and answer session on Zoom, and the live stream ends here.